Welcome to Brown's Neighborhood, where Daniel Butchie Brown is the host. This is Brown's Neighborhood back. Now we got Malik now. Malik is from New York. But I don't know how he found his way to Cali, but we gonna find out. Malik Spencer. Malik Spencer. Right?
No. You close but no cigar. Malik Spellman is just
Malik
my alias
Spellman.
is Spencer on my cell phone. So when I call you, you don't know it's me calling to ask you about the conditions of our people. So I go stealth with the phone name.
Malik Spellman. We got it. We got him in the house.
The mayor of Los Angeles.
Hey, we got him. Now, this is the story. And ain't no man may have heard yet, but we gonna get it from him. Malik, you grew up in New York City.
Yes, sir.
New York.
Yes, sir.
You grew up in New York. Did you go to school and any of that, or was you a good kid or bad kid?
I was both.
Good and bad?
Yeah.
Well, what made you good then?
What made me good is what my parents instilled in me. What made me bad is the decisions I made on my own.
And when did you start making those decisions?
At birth.
Is that right?
Yep.
So at 5, do you think you was making bad decisions at 5 years old?
At 4 years old, I threw my suitcase down the stairs trying to run away from home. I've been on my own since I was about 6 or 7, verifiable.
Where would a 7-year-old go in New York City?
Get on the bus and sneak to North Carolina to see my grandmother. And all these stories, I can call my uncle right now. He'll tell you via intercom. I used to run away when I was 6, 7 years old, stow away on the bus, on the back of the bus just to get to my grandma's house to get something to eat. And she lived 1,500 miles away from New York
to get something to eat?
Yep.
Well, there wasn't nothing to eat at the house?
I grew up in a household. My mama had 5 kids, and she was a single parent, great mother, but she always exposed us, although we was extremely poor, eating hot sauce sandwiches, beans, wearing summer clothes, some of my stuff, some of your stuff, some of their stuff. We just didn't have no stability. New York was not nice there. My mom came out there from New York trying to dance on the Dick Clark show, and consequently, she had 5 babies, homie. But they, everywhere we lived, we stayed there 30 days or less and had
So tell me, how did you get to come to California?
Well, I came by the way of escaping the cold because my mother had been sent to prison, and I was sleeping in an abandoned building with one of my Panamanian buddies. It was the coldest winter ever, of course, and he tapped on the pipe. He said, man, in the morning, since he didn't have credentials, he's like, I want you to go to the Port Authority bus station, and we're going to go to California. And I'm 15, 14 and a half, something like that. So back then, he didn't know how to buy tickets. So New York was, a fast town. So when I walked up there to buy tickets, they sold them to me on Trailways, which is no longer around.
Well, where you get the money from?
I got the money from him because I didn't know he had stole some dope from some people and then used that money to buy the tickets. So he gave me the money to go get the tickets, and then I went and got the tickets on my own, and then we left that morning.
So what kind of dope did he steal?
Cocaine. And I didn't know nothing about it. I had no idea he had it.
Did you know anything about cocaine?
Of course, I'm a New Yorker.
How you know about cocaine?
Because I was freebasing as a kid when we was youngsters.
Is that right?
Yeah, they call it crack now, but we was putting cocaine on the plate, setting it on fire with Bacardi in high school.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who introduced you to that?
Streets.
What?
Then I had a rich girlfriend back then who was exposed to a lot of different things, so she pulled my little poor black ass right with her. But we wasn't addicts or nothing like that. We was just kids experimenting. But now, stigmas that come along with crack cocaine. That name started on the east side with us. With the homegirls calling it crack enough for $5 a piece, $10 a piece, because crack was like $50, half a moon, $25. Then you had the grams, 14 grams, 28 grams. So when we used to say crack enough a piece, they used to crack it off, and then it made its way to New York where they was putting it in little vials. So there's a verbal spat about which city started, but I know for sure my boy Bird and Chicken and all them was the first people I ever heard use that term, crack enough a piece.
And where was that at?
On the east side, it's 10 Pan Alley, 73rd and Central.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So the thing is, what made you try it when you was in New York? Is that when freebasing was out or started? That's how, the first part of the cocaine era was the freebasing. What's his name? The comedian. He was always
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
But the first part of it wasn't necessarily the freebasing. It was probably one of the queens or duchess of England sniffing it out that snuff box on TV. Care for a little spots of tea type thing. So, that powder was by the hour back during the blaxploitation era with Superfly and all the pimp movies.
Yeah.
And crack came as a destructive mechanism. So you got to remember, crack cocaine is the first drug that has ever made a black woman, or any woman for that matter, leave their children. Heroin couldn't do it. Teas and blues couldn't do it. Red Devil pills couldn't do it. Methadone couldn't do it. But crack cocaine is the first drug that has ever literally made a woman sell her kids to drug dealers.
Wow. So I'm saying at that young age, and people got to understand, people that try different things when they're young because they don't even know what the outcome is when they trying it as a kid. Who introduced you to freebasing?
My rich girlfriend named Penny, whose parents was wealthy from Guyana, and they had a lot of businesses in New York, and we was just kids, man. She introduced me to shark meat. She introduced me to filet mignon, Louis Vuitton. So, there's different levels to this. They got safety nets for them. They didn't have one for me. But the way we was doing, we wasted more cocaine trying to learn how to rock it up or cook it up than anything. So it wasn't no addictions involved. It was just experimental as children. But now today, fast forward today, we was generation what? What do they call it? Generation X or something like that? What was we? Something of that nature. Baby boom era. Now you got Generation RX, which is prescription drugs. Before, grandma used to be able to keep her medicine in the medicine cabinet in the bathroom. She can't do that no more.
So you and your partner decided y'all gonna come all the way to California. Why y'all not stop in Philly or Chicago? But all them is cold states too, so
That was a rhetorical question, but I'll let you continue with your interview, because that's precisely why we didn't do it. It was cold. And then I didn't have any choice in the matter. My mother had been sent to prison. My brother went on vacation to a family reunion in North Carolina. Then he came back, and consequently, when he came back, I was gone.
So when y'all got to California, what were you thinking? What are y'all gonna do now? You dropped down here in Cali?
I came out here with an imaginary plan to go to UCLA. because I wanted to be a doctor. And I had this vision of a woman that looked like my wife I have today to build a family with. Like I really had this dream of driving out here. I used to sit in class in New York and dream of driving out here in an MG. And what turned me on to Cali, is, to be honest with you, was a Mountain Dew commercial. I seen people swinging off a branch into the lake. And I used to watch like Lucille Ball and stuff like that and watch orange trees. I just was always fascinated with the tropical climate, but I never knew it would be a God calling.
So you got here, you and him, he had the dope, or maybe you had it. How y'all end up on the east side?
Because when we were coming here from San Diego, he got stopped by the Border Patrol. They took him in, the immigration, so they let me go. So the immigration people or border people came on the bus, and what they did back then, they just asked you a question to see if you had an accent. So he asked all the people on the bus, what's your name? And they, I'm this, that. And then when they got to him, he had like he was from Panama, so he had a Panamanian accent. And they was like, no, you come go with us. But they let him out in a couple of days. What happened was I went to San Diego. When we left from San Diego, they took him, the immigration thing, and they let me go. They didn't even ask me no questions. They just looked at me like, which they should have because I'm a minor, but I guess they didn't even pay that no mind. Let me go. And when I got to the bus station downtown L.A., that's the first time I'd ever seen a Uzi submachine gun. I seen the police or armored guards walking with submachine guns, and it fascinated me because I'd never seen nothing like that. And I jumped in the cab, and I just told the cab driver to take me to the black community. And that's what my mom used to always tell me, if you're ever in trouble, go south and find a black community. So I told the cab driver, dropped me off to the black community, dropped me off on 73rd and Broadway. And I went to hand him the little money, 'cause I had a couple of dollars, and he started laughing and told me, nah, that's all right, and said, good luck, drove off. And he dropped me off in hell.
Well, so you gonna call 73rd and Broadway hell?
Right, it was hell, bro, literally. That place defined me. That place made me the man that I am, along with gang members that taught me the things to do and what not to do, and watching their struggles. That's why I don't disrespect OGs or young people that's in gangs and stuff, because I understand they struggle. I left New York trying to dodge gangs, the 7 Crowns, 7 Immortals, things of that nature. So it was gang capital out there back then.
So do you remember any of the brothers you first met when you got to California?
I know every last one of them in my mind.
Well, name one of them that, when you got here, you met him, and you remember his name,
Well, that's a great question as well, because when we were in the corner attempting to sell cocaine to Carl, was the first person I met, which was White Boy Buddy's brother. He took the cocaine up to his brother, and then he came back and said, man, my brother want to meet you. My brother said to bring you to him. I'm like, yo, brother, I don't know nobody. I got a leather suit that I wore for like 2 years with the leather pants. I'm way ahead of my time. I'm in Southern California with leather clothes on. And I was like, yo, brother, I don't know your brother, dude. And he's like, yeah, my brother's the one that was at that apartment that day, and he said that you helped him out when he was on the couch stabbed. I'm like, what? Just imagine if we would have stole from that man or robbed him. Come to find out he's the king of PCP. Then I went over there, and all my friends that I have now, some of them are still here, some are dead. They was balling out of control, and I'd never seen nothing like that. And then I was like, yo, you the dude that was on the couch. He was like, yeah, man, thank you, man. You a good dude, man. He made me one of his right-hand men and walked me. He never turned his back on me, but we walked through hell together. Me and Buddy, God bless his soul, we walked through hell together, literally.
So you met a man that was involved with PCP.
That was the man that was on the couch stabbed when I first got off our first stop on the layover. Remember I said I just checked on him, like, man, you got your jewelry, you got your money. Right. And then fast forward when I got to L.A. with the cab, and then we get there, and then Akili finally caught up, and he was like, did my brother want to meet you? I'm like, yo, brother, I don't know nobody out here. He's like, no, my brother said, man, that you a good dude, that he was on the boy couch, stabbed up. He remembered me. Because he told him I had on a green leather suit. He said, some dude with a green, he said, leather suit. That's the dude that loyalty is everything to me, and trust.
Right.
I'm not, if I know you're not shaking hands with you, I'm not going to touch nothing that belong to you.
So when you got to California, did you imagine you was going to start hustling?
I was born a hustler.
Well, you might have figured I would get to Cali up for to change my life.
That was the plan, because my plan was to go to UCLA, but then some white lady, I got as far as the Rainbow Club, which is a famous club on Sunset, which is several blocks away from UCLA. And I was like, where's UCLA? Because back then my stepfather was extremely wealthy, the one that my mom had met along the time that I was, making my moves. And consequently, that rat sent me back the other direction towards the east, back to the east side. Then fast forward many years later, I met my wife, and I was riding in her car, rolling down the street, and I'm feeling good because I've changed my life. And I park at this bus stop on Florence and Broadway, and I look up, and I think it said the 210 or the 217 UCLA. And I'm like, I did all this circumventing trying to get there, and I sold dope underneath this sign for years and never looked up and seen it said UCLA last stop.
And you out here didn't know. It was right.
I burst into tears like a child because at that point I'm thinking about my children who were becoming successful at the time. It was all an emotional time bomb that needed to explode. Because I thought about all the lives I ruined, all my friends that had been murdered and killed.
Well, how did that happen when you say all the lives that been ruined?
Because we were responsible for our actions. We were selling PCP, and the acronym PCP stands for Please Consider the Plot. So we was part of that. And when you take accountability for the people that you done sold dope to and then killed themselves riding on a motorcycle or done tore up their mama house or whatever it was, man, we did some really, really...
So how old were you when you really got involved with PCP?
15. I tested some angel dust once before when I went to school with Larry Fishburne, the actor, and Ron Carter Jr.'s son, who's a jazz musician right now today. So we was just kids.
This was in New York?
Yep.
They had angel dust in New York?
Yep, that's where it came from. That's called embalming fluid. Out here it's called phocyclidine, which is plastic used to make, I'm not going to tell you how to make PCP, but it's the same products that they use to make plastic dolls and the Drano to unclog sinks.
So did you ever learn how to make PCP?
I'll take the fifth on that.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm burnt up from head to toe. I must know something about it. But that's a very hazardous job. You don't want to just run around and telling people you know how to cook PCP.
Right,
You find yourself on one of these farms somewhere tied up.
Yeah, well...
I don't know shit about cooking. All I do is just watch.
That PCP is something else.
Brown, you know more than you know. You know, you brown all the way down. You play, you got a good redemption role, but on the contrary, you ain't no spring chicken. You done been around the block and up a couple of alleys, partner.
No.
You play real, you got that conservative approach towards redemption, and I get that, but ain't nothing I'm talking about you unfamiliar with. Absolutely nothing.
Well, no, I mean, I know a little something. I mean, I grew up in the neighborhood, so you gonna know something. So you did get burned by being involved with PCP.
I got my ass chastised. Burnt wasn't the question. I was in a little bitty hallway, dude, and dude flicked that cigarette in there or whatever remaining of it was, and that damn trail came on like the Mission Impossible. When it come on, that trail came, it was hellfire blue, and then it just said, boom! And next thing I know, I heard the spirit of the devil tell me, go stand in the corner and wait for the paramedics. And I was like, wait for the paramedics? I ain't doing that. And then I just realized that they was giving out 30 years for that shit.
Got out of there.
Then these little bitty kids, man, God bless them, from Hoover, some little bitty kids, I was in the bushes, man. I didn't even realize I was burnt up. I just put my arm like this. That's why it's burnt here, my leg in. God said, go on and pay that price. I was like, cool. And as soon as I ran out, the little kids hid me in the bushes, and I could see the police boots running by. And these little bitty kids, man, they walked me all the way back to my location to be safe.
Wow.
Some little bitty, beautiful black children off of Hoover, man. I'll never forget that, man. And they told the police was like, where did he go? They was like, he went that way. But all along I was in the bushes, and they was like, come on. I'm like, man, come on, but don't get me started on me. This is based on a true story.
And you survived it.
God had me survive.
Here.
I got home and put that water on my face, and it was just all bones and flesh. So kids, stay away from drugs and hazardous activity in these streets, because the game gonna send you a bill.
So did you ever get involved in any gang activity?
No, because all my friends was gang members, and I was cool with both sides. I grew up on the east side, 7 Trey hustlers, 7 Trey, and all that, you know what I'm saying? But we never was gang members. We was getting money. You know what I mean? When it turned gang, that was a whole nother generation. But I've been involved in a lot of gang truces. You know, I paved the way for a lot of brothers, even brothers like yourself, from 1992 till now. You know, we done built all of them.
So you've been involved in gang truces and things.
We helped build it with the brothers in Watts. I done been to 350 plus gang-related funerals, count. I done buried babies in shoebox-sized caskets and some more.
Wow.
You know, so I done seen it. You name a gang interventionist, either we helped them get in the game or they helped us build this ship. We paved the way for you, Mr. Brown, to be up and down this street right here, along with your own life experiences.
Right.
Tony Bogards, you know, the tie sticks from the Nickerson Gardens, you know, the Daouz, you know, the Tyrese. We ran the gamut, man, of brothers that was really smashing about this life.
So you've been helping now.
I've been helpful.
Helpful.
It's a collective error. It's a collective thing. So it's not me. It's not about Malik.
Right.
It's about us.
But you've been a part of helping out the community now.
Yes, sir.
That's a change of life, and that's good, man. How long you been married?
It feel like eternity, but I've been married to this sister right here for 18 years now. I was a real player outside. I didn't play no games when it came to dating. I was serious. I was a serial dater of females. I was a connoisseur of fine women. That was my life.
And what did this woman do to help change that?
Showed me real love. Because my girl don't miss. She at the free throw line and she don't miss and she's shooting with one arm. She don't miss. I had no other choice but to accept her. Because she accepted me the way I am.
And you fell in love.
I didn't fall in, I walked in.
You walked in love.
Yeah.
So she was showing you that kind of love.
Well, I think she showed me my value, which allowed me to exuberate the light of love towards her to guide both of our paths. So it was a mutual contribution.
Okay, so you know a lot of brothers from the neighborhood, you know. I mean, you know, not naming no names, but you do know a lot of brothers from the neighborhood.
Name a neighborhood and I know somebody over there or been over there. I don't give a damn what name, Mexican, Korean, Filipino, black, gangsters, Hoovers, neighborhoods. Name one. BGF, name one. Hells Angels, Mongols, Aryan Brotherhood, name one. I done interacted with the whole planet. Ku Klux Klans. Metzger was out of Orange County, was a friend of mine. He was head of the white supremacy group. But he respect me for what we do. I was about black power and he was about his power. That's it and that's all.
You done any time in any of these jails in California?
I did 6 months in the men's central jail, which was hell on earth. And then I went to the penitentiary, level 4, Old Folsom, level 4, Corcoran, level 4.
Man.
New Folsom, opened the door to break the yard and they had no grass, level 4. Non-gang affiliate, didn't get disrespected, didn't disrespect nobody.
And then after that, did you decide to change your life?
God changed it for me. I didn't decide. It was up to me. I like robberies and chaos.
So then how did God intervene and change it?
Put my ass in that penitentiary, made me sit down, put me in the belly of the Jonah, in the belly of the whale. And then when I came out, I was a news reporter. I said, if I ever get out of jail, I'm going to do something to change my community. And I swore to that.
Wow.
Standing ovation in Old Folsom from white boys, Southern Mexicans, blacks. And I kept my word and I never went back on it. Not one time.
Man, that's life-changing right there, I'm telling you.
Yeah, the parole officer I had, because I don't say my parole officer, because I ain't got no white boy just supervising me. But the parole officer that was assigned to look over me, he was asked a question, and the parole officer went, where's that Speltman guy? And he didn't know. And they was in a little room where they had the waiting room to watch TV, waiting to see a parole officer. And he said, I don't know, there you go right there on the news. Then the other dude turned around thinking it was probably something of a crime, and I was a news reporter for Fox 11 News.
What? Well, you got a good gift to gab now. You sure know how to talk. If nothing else, you can spit real good, man. I'm going to tell you that now.
You black man.
I'm glad to even have you on the Browns Neighborhood podcast. And it's good that somebody can hear different things that happen in life, you know what I'm saying? And know that there's always hope and believe in God, you know, because it's good when a brother can say, God changed me. You know what I'm saying?
And that's not fake. That's real.
Yeah.
You know, so the bottom line is your show and your community and the contributions that you're making here up along this corridor save more lives and a cure for cancer and autism.
Man.
You know, because you're here helping the elderly and then you participate in the civil engagement as well as conversations with people like myself that have different experiences.
Yes, man. It's a blessing, man. I mean, I tell you, I was like, man, I don't know who Miss Malik want to come down and, you know, but people need to hear it. And people going to know who Malik is. They already know who Malik is, really. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's a blessing. I mean, even to mention you got married, got a wife. I think that's important in life, that a man find somebody that love him and he love her and get married. You know, it may not be for everybody, but it's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, you know, in the black community, unfortunately, nowadays, we're going to more funerals than weddings. You know, and our children are not getting an opportunity to do nothing but play in the cemetery to watch some OG get buried on Saturday or get to come outside when it's a murder or an accident because the ice cream truck is safe. You know, I wrote an article for the Los Angeles Sentinel, and I wrote for them for many years called Rusty Bikes, because I asked my son one day, like, why are these bikes I bought y'all in the backyard rusty? They was living in Compton. He said, Dad, because my mama don't let us ride. It's too many people shooting and getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really perpetuate something different in our community. And like brothers like yourself and others, they accept the challenge to change. And, my philosophy has always been, a wise man changes often and the fool don't never change.
So where did you learn these writing skills from? Seemed like a very intelligent brother, and everybody can't write. So where did you get those skills from?
In the Quran, they had, I think it was Prophet Musa or maybe Muhammad, where one of them couldn't read, and then the angel Gabriel grabbed them and squeezed them and said, Ikra, Ikra, which means read in Arabic. And as a child, I was always interested in personifying the image of an intelligent, intellectual, civilized human being. Mm-hmm. And being poor was very challenging because we didn't have the necessary tools to fortify our position in terms of our ambitions. So what I decided to do was I like to read. I like words. I like to explore because I can't travel. So I like to take my mind and suspend it into space and dart off into infinity, into somebody else's culture. And then I extrapolate from that and then try to build and learn about it. So I was always interested in just human beings and just reading. I thought that reading was fundamental and it was my way of escaping the pain. So every chance I got to read something to make me separate from the people that I was around, I attempted to do so.
Wow. And that's good because these young men need to know reading is important. Because if you can't read, somebody can give you some paperwork. You can believe a lot of men done got contracts and couldn't even read them.
Well, it's not so much that they can't read, but, and I've learned this over the years because I've volunteered to be a teacher in several schools here in Los Angeles. And it's not the reading, it's the comprehension. Mm-hmm. And comprehension is very important, just as much as the punctuation chart. So reading, as my son and I was just conversing about earlier, reading, people have to be taught very simply that reading is just like talking or like driving. If you drive, you get to the stop sign and you stop. So if you've got a conversation and you're talking to someone, you say something and you put a period. Then the question, the punctuation chart is very important. I advise anyone to have a punctuation chart in their offices because punctuation charts is the only thing that AI is basically using to write your letter. They're making sure that it's, grammatically correct. And that's what we're missing in our communities today is the punctuation and the comprehension.
So where did you get that from? How did it get instilled in you?
God.
Wow. So how much time did you do when you did go to prison?
7 years.
So while you was down, did you do a lot of reading while you was down?
I read like 600 books while I was down or more.
Wow.
And I had a library of 10,000 books in my house as my kids was growing up. And I've always had this problem going to school where I could just look at the front of a book or maybe read the index or the forward, and then I could comprehend everything in the book. And they used to get me in trouble a lot. Now, fast forward now, my children have the same issues. That's how my daughter got in the Navy. She never studied. She just looked at the book and then read a couple of pages, and we knew exactly what it was. So as a kid, my mother used to make us take this course called Evelyn Wood speed reading courses. Mm-hmm. And we used to complain. She used to make us read articles every day and write reports. Although we was poor, she used to make us read the New York Times and the Post and stuff like that. And in Evelyn Wood speed reading course, they don't offer, but you can read about it. They let you read from the middle all the way down instead of reading from end to end. So you start at the top, and then in the news, that's what we do. They used to read shorthand in news, but now they read through the Evelyn Wood style. They just read from the middle all the way to the bottom, and it takes you it cuts off like 20, 30 minutes. So I can go through a book in a day if I just really wanted to.
Wow.
I don't do it anymore because I got in trouble for reading newspapers. That's a personal thing, and collecting books and stuff like that. So I just stopped.
So do you believe it's a God's gift to you?
I know it's a gift to God, but one thing about the word gift, it has to come from God because the word gift in German means poison. So be careful who offers you a gift and what kind of gift it is.
Mm-hmm. So how you believe that how you got this talent and skill that you have?
I got it from God and trial and error in life and being extremely poor because I thank God for it. You know what I mean? Because that defined me because pressure makes the best diamond so it could shed light in all directions. But street niggas made me a man.
Is that right?
And down-to-earth black women that watched my back, whose couches I slept on, whose food I ate, whose cars I drove, who put up with my shit, who accepted my collect calls, who took my lies, who accepted my truths.
Wow. Man, that's something, I tell you that. But evidently, through all of that, through even the beginning of having it hard down there in New York, God had to have his hand on you because he's here now, and you're helping somebody now.
Well, God got his hand on us, and we helping everybody now, speaking collectively, because it's not a Malik thing. Even God say, I, us, we, and them. Even Jesus needed disciples, so no man
That's
can
right.
possibly
That's
do it
right.
by himself. God he didn't need them, but he had them.
Yeah, but no, that's a blessing, man. This is for the people. This is my first time seeing Brother Malik, but even listening to him and seeing how he's talking and how his mannerism is, something done changed in his life for sure. You know what I'm saying? But all of what he may have been through, and me and anybody else, it's a learning experience along the way. So you done learned a whole lot, brother. You know what I'm saying? Main thing, you learned how to survive. 'Cause any man that go through the penitentiary, level 4s, and he's still here in his right mind, he had to be a hell of a brother. I'm proud of you, man, and I'm proud of what you're doing through all the helping out with these gang preventions and things like this. Because these young men, sometimes they get a hold to the wrong thing, wrong thoughts, and do things out there that they regret years later. So trying to save them from it is one of the biggest things we can do for, we don't want to just say for a black man, but for any young man.
Or any human being for that matter. Mm-hmm. Because in my humble opinion, I think that the experiences that we have will be the opportunity for them to kind of draw from to not make the mistakes that we made, because you learn today's answers from yesterday's mistake. So if you put your hand on that fire today, you know not to do that tomorrow.
That's right.
So you don't become a man. It takes 50 years to become a man, 50-something plus years. In my case, it took, 50-something years, and then you slow down. So I don't expect the brothers to do too much. But as I spoke on this other podcast called Wild Moguls, and it's out now, it's called Demon Seed. You know, some of the choices that we make as adults and parents, trying to find love or trying to fortify ourselves to be in a position of housing, food, clothing, and shelter, we oftentimes may or may not pick the wrong mate, or may do contrary to what our parents want us to do, like go to church and raise your babies in the mosque and the church and do it this way in Sunday school. So, I look at America for that problem, because what happens is you take prayer out of school, but yet, God forbid, when the school gets shot up, you outside in the front praying. So that's what you call a human oxymoron.
I'm just wondering how the young man in New York during the cold winter times survive when they have no place to go. I mean, no heat. Do they have shelters there?
They had shelters. They had under 21, but I was always the type of person that, my mama went to prison. They tried to put me into foster care, and I ran away from that, I didn't accept that St. John's and Far Rockaway. I just didn't accept institutionalization. I was never with that. I've always been a free spirit, you know what I mean? Don't tread on me. It's always been my philosophy. So when they put me in those positions, I was already a survivor on the streets. I'd already slept on every subway. I can remember sleeping in the subway holding my little sister, rest in pieces, 30 below zero, and I seen a subway train car in the 70s full of black men chained up, going to prison. I never knew they transported them underground, and they seen me and my sister. I can still see them vividly and clear in my mind right now. And we sitting in the subway freezing, and they rolled by on the train, chained up, sitting down, and they looked at us like it was a Color Purple movie, like they was sad and hurt, because we like 5 and 6. But I've been running away from home since I was a baby. I'm still running away from home now. That's why I be in my backyard or outside, because I just can't seem to adjust to the normalcy of what most people have experienced in their lives, like food, clothing, and shelter. And I prefer to be either way with me. It don't matter.
Wow, man. It takes a strong woman to deal with a man. It takes strong women to deal with men, period. Because men are men. They need, believe it or not, they need a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, my girl came with unconditional love. She came out of them communities where she didn't have the issues that I have, so we're like yin and yang. You know what I mean? She come from one side of the tracks, and I come from another, but she's just seen something in me that, that was different. And then I seen something in her that made me more wholesome inside.
Wow. How did y'all meet?
I asked her to buy me a hamburger.
Is that right? No,
That's
really?
the truth.
Is that right?
I was riding down the street in my car. I said, "Hey, shawty, buy a nigga a hamburger." She said, "Pull over." I said, "That's my business."
Is that right? What?
That's exactly how it happened.
Wow.
You the first person ever heard that.
Man, buy me a hamburger.
And got me, or then I told her, I said, "You look like my future wife." Just like that. That was what you call a great prognostication.
Who was driving? She was driving?
We both was driving, but I just left my
okay.
billionaire girlfriend. I just got off a private jet going to see one of my friends in the hood, and I ran into her, and I shook my other girlfriend like a 6.9 earthquake.
For her, for your wife. Just knew it was her.
I don't go down, I go up.
And have been there now together for at least 20 years.
That's my brat.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, man. She here with you right now, so, love is strong. I can tell you that much,
All I can tell you is love is for suckers, and suckers love cigars.
So you think you was a sucker when you fell into that?
I sucked into something, and I loved it. It was sweet.
Man. Well, ain't nothing wrong with that, bro, because it doesn't groom you to be a better brother, so I can't say nothing to that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, don't get it twisted in my street voice. If you was born in the 90s, I probably fucked your mama. Don't get it twisted.
Huh?
I was really that nigga.
Were you? You was something else. Yeah, well, I believe you. I ain't gonna sit up and tell you I don't believe you. I mean, just having conversation with you. One thing I do like is when somebody can come on the Browns Neighborhood podcast and they can keep it real. A lot of people can't, some can handle real, some can't, but they need to hear realness because everybody don't really tell the truth.
I ain't got nothing else but the truth to tell you, baby. Truth gonna set you free.
You know what I'm saying? Because they all trying to hide behind a certain image of I ain't did nothing. And if they can all look at their life, if they put it on the board, they all might be running because they don't want people to see what they have did or are doing. You know what I'm saying? So I love it when a brother can come on here and just keep it real and tell the truth. So because somebody else, when they hear the truth, they almost seeing a reflection of themselves sometimes. Maybe not in all of it, but in some of it. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I just want to say thank you for coming on this Brown Neighborhood podcast, man. And, Brown want to treat you and your wife to dinner.
I appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? Just for making the time to come down here and be, just to speak, to me as well to the people. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody needed to hear it. I want to thank Mel for, giving you my number. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you accepting it. On behalf of my wife, my family, my community, I suggest that you take that meal dinner and perhaps buy something, a bucket of chicken, and hand out to some black folks like you do every day.
Yeah.
And then we'll simulcast together at a later date to do some things around the golf or, go out and feed the poor or anything that's going to take us to the next level. Man,
that's wonderful, man. I mean, I love your personality, your attitude, because we all come from somewhere. And I ain't gonna sit up here and act like I grew up with a silver spoon, because I grew up poor too. You can see some pictures of us growing up poor. Boy, we look like the Beverly Hillbillies, but I didn't want them to see that. But we were poor, man.
I thank God I grew up poor. I'll do it all over again. You know why? Because I done did everything but mess with a man, work with the police, or touch somebody's kids, or violated a woman. Other than that, I done did it. So I thank God for the life that I live. I do it all over again.
Man.
Especially when I was out there doing my thing in them streets. Ain't nothing like running them streets, but you got to watch the stop signs like Tupac say.
Wow. All I can tell you is, hey, I thank God for him coming on the podcast. The podcast is something that God is letting me do, So, God, I thank you for Malik coming. I thank you for the Browns Neighborhood podcast because it give a chance for a man to speak or a woman to speak their life and truth that it may help somebody else in their struggle or they encourage them. You know what I'm saying? So Malik, man, thank you for coming down to the Browns Neighborhood podcast. Malik speaks real good. I can tell you that. Boy, look here. When a man come in, you already know how he's spitting these words, boy. You can do some, I rap anything because you talk real good. You use words good, and that ain't easy. You know what I'm saying?
That's because I went to Brown's Neighborhood University, and that's how I cracked my wife.
Wow.
I cracked her like a breakfast egg and cracked her before she hit the ground. Threw an egg, poof, and cracked before she hit the ground.
Had her.
Bam!
Man, boy, you something else, man. I'm going to tell you that. This is a blessing, I mean, it's a blessing for another brother to give another brother the opportunity not only to interview him, but to be able to talk to him and hear what his life is about. Because we're about, helping one another. And that he's done a lot of things in the community, helping people. So don't get it twisted. This man is out here helping. If we can help one, we done a whole lot.
And that's what Brown's Neighborhood Podcast is here for. And
That's
I salute you, brother.
Man, and to God be the glory. Until next time, we out.